Bonjour, welcome to Miss Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture Cooking. I'm your host, Miss Lucy, and this is my co-host and granddaughter, Lucy McKenzie. Today we're visiting with Mr. Delton Smith in Monroe, Louisiana, where he raises these beautiful quail as a hobby. So you stay with us, Sha.
We'll be right back.
The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world, and Louisiana's main ingredient? Seafood. We put the same thing into our music that we put into our gumbo. Everything. A Louisiana tour guide is available at www.louisianatravel.com. Louisiana crawfish, an appetizing natural resource.
Years ago, I began collecting recipes. Some were my own, others were my mama's and grandma's, stored away and almost forgotten. Imagine my delight recently at finding this treasure from my past. How precious. Now, I share these recipes and memories with my children and granddaughter. Just another part of my heritage. And Miss Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking. Hey, Sha, come on into my kitchen. I got these gorgeous quail when we visited Mr. Delton Smith in Monroe, Louisiana. Of course, he has a nice little quail farm there, and I'll be teaching you how to prepare a very quick and easy recipe with these. But first, let's see what these birds look like in flight. These precious quail are only 6 weeks old. They are held in cages, but are very well cared for by Mr. Smith. This must be where the old saying comes from when people say they flew the coop. Mr. Smith feeds them twice a day, but allowed Lucy and I to feed them for him. They are so friendly and easy to hold. This breed is of the Bob White family. They are 16 weeks old. There are 1,100 birds in this home. They are fully grown at 16 weeks. That is when Mr. Smith either sells them live or dresses them to sell, to cook. They do not migrate, therefore they have all white meat. Soon, these will be just the right size for my frying pan. Now for that quick and easy but yet very delicious recipe I promised you for. Actually, I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare my quail. I've rinsed these gorgeous babies, and then you're going to salt and pepper them, just right there on the platter. Oh, they are so pretty. Mr. Delton, he cleaned these for me, so I tell you what, he does a very good job. They're just gorgeous and so nice. Yes, then you turn them over. And you do the inside. See how it's so pretty? Isn't that meat gorgeous? Quail meat is just so pretty. It's almost like chicken, but it really tastes good. Okay. Now, it doesn't have that wild taste to it. Salt and pepper them real good because you want this to be a little bit on the hot side. Very good. Now, I've got that ready. And of course, I'm browning my onions, bell pepper, and celery in this. But first, I'm going to have to brown my quail. I have melted some butter here. And I'm going to add my quail to the melted butter because you want to brown these real pretty. And of course, when that happens, you're going to have a gratin that's going to form at the bottom of the pot. And you know what that means in Cajun language? That means that you'll have a crust that's going to form, and honey, it's going to be just well, it's kind of like the icing on a cake because it is so good when it comes together with everything that you're going to put in here with your seasonings. So we're going to brown these real good. Now, what I was used to doing was frying quail. I had never cooked quail like this. Of course, you can fry quail just like you do chicken. You run them through the egg and the flour and you drop them in oil. But this is so much better. I really like it because it has a different type of flavor. Let me see, they're browning real good already, so you want a high fire. Now, people think maybe quail take a long time to cook, but actually they don't. You don't want to overdo them because they're very tender. Now, these are bob white quail, of course, as you saw in the package, and they are just so tender. And like I said, they're very small, but yet I could eat 2 of them. So I fry them sometimes, and they're tasty fried. But of course, today I wanted to go ahead and enjoy it like this. And you will find out at the end why I like this recipe. See how this one is browning so pretty? Yes. Look at that. Very good. Quick and easy, yet good, because you just can't beat good old Cajun cooking. All right. Now, okay. These birds are just delicious. Okay, let me brown it on this side. Very good. See, it's forming that gratin on the bottom of the pot, which, of course, when I add my other ingredients, it's going to come up and it's going to just enhance the flavor of these birds. Very good. All right. Actually, Chef Hans gave me this recipe to use at home, and I've tried it several times, and it's really been a big hit. So I think these are browned enough. Because you don't want to cook them because you will be baking these. Okay. Now. Smells so good. Okay. Now. Okay, now to this, of course, you're going to add some onions, which I'm going to cook. Kind of like saute a little bit. And mushrooms. Fresh mushrooms are always better, but you can use the canned mushroom if you want to. Okay. Now, I really enjoyed the quail, but you know what? We also enjoyed some of the quail eggs that are very, very good. Actually, we pickled the quail eggs, and they were delicious. So you can just go ahead and put the little bitty quail eggs into a jar with some vinegar. Okay, this looks good. Good. Cooking real good now. Those flavors are just blending in real good. Okay. So actually what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add my quail to this. Just like this. Now, arrange them real nice because you're going to have to get the vegetables out and kind of sprinkle over them. Isn't that gorgeous? Very good. One thing, I like my cooking. Of course, I've had a lot of practice. 44 years is a long, long time to cook 3 meals a day. And now, of course, I love every minute of it. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to add just a dab of water, which will make that sauce in there, which will really, really make those quails taste real good. Okay? All right. Very good. Oops. Okay. Now my favorite ingredient, of course, is wine. Can't have this without a little dab of wine. And, well, you know how Cajuns are. A little dab is pretty much, but okay, very good. This will cook out. The alcohol will cook out when this is all done. See how pretty, and oh man, that will be so good. I know when I'm going to feed Lucy today, I'm going to really enjoy this. Okay, now you cover the quail. Cover them in the dish, or the baking dish, or you can use the same pot, you see. Okay, and you bring it to the oven. All right, and I'm going to bake these at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes. Now, so while that's baking, I'm going to fix my wonderful souffle. And now for that very special carrot souffle that I learned how to cook. Of course, I don't especially care for carrots, but this was so good, and I ate it at a restaurant one day, and I just had to have the recipe, and I've been cooking it ever since. And it's so easy to fix. So you can get these frozen baby carrots, of course, in your grocery store, or you can even use the canned carrots, which have been cut. Ooh, the little one wanted to go out. I guess Rex wanted to eat that. I sure am messy today. Goodness, I'm going to have some good cooking, because all good cooks are messy cooks. Okay, let's get these around. Now, I'm not going to leave that one waste, okay? Then you add your sugar. Okay, very good. Just throw everything together, which is wonderful. Okay, and some flour. Oh, that was baking powder. And here's my flour. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to add my butter to this. Okay, that'll work. Very good. And some vanilla flavor. That will just blend all those flavors in together. Now, again, Mr. Edgar will go to work. Of course, this is my wonderful little egg beater. Mr. Edgar, he's a good friend of mine. Okay, Mr. Edgar, thank you. I'll put you here. All righty. Now, what you need to do is that you need to puree all this very well together. So, okay. All right. And that just, everything will blend in, and it'll be just so smooth and creamy. Okay, that's really working good. Nothing like a food processor. Takes a lot out of the hands. All good cooks need that. So, all right. You got it all. Okay. Well, that's all it takes. Yes. So, very good. All right. Now, I'm going to take this out. Of course, I don't want to throw that into the dish. Okay. Get all the carrots out of here. Okay. Some of my butter didn't get all together, but that's okay. It'll melt when you bake this. Of course, all your butter melts in together. Now, put this back here. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Make sure it's all blended in. Real good. Okay. Now, good. Boy, it smells so good. It really smells like sweet potatoes, and I guess you could use sweet potatoes in here too instead of the carrots. And I really never cared much for carrots, but man, I really like this dish. It's real, real good, and it's good for you. Tell me, it makes your eyes better. I don't know. All right, now this is some whipped egg whites, and we're going to fold these in here, which there is a difference in folding and mixing. Okay, when you fold something, you just gently just turn it around like this. Of course, mixing has a real swift action, and you really don't want to do that because it's going to sort of get all the air out of your egg whites, and you don't want that because this is a souffle. And when you bake it in the oven, it's just going to rise, and it'll just be gorgeous. So, of course, now after you take it out, you may have a little problem with serving it. You may want to just bake it in individual dishes, like, you know, I like to do it that way. Bake it in individual dishes. And you have your little bowls that you bake your custards in. And this is really like a custard. So, all righty. This is great. So now I'm going to put it in a big dish. And we will have to bake it in the oven. Boy, those flavors just coming together, and it smells so good. Okay, there. Okay. Alrighty, got that all together. So now I'm going to take it to the oven and bake it at 325 for about 45 minutes. Okay. And while that bakes, of course, I'm going to call Lucy to come in and help me with our dessert. Now for that special cherry pie that I'm so good at making. Of course, you heat up your skillet and you put some sugar in here. And you mix that with flour, because that's going to thicken it. Okay. Now to this, you want to add some butter. You can use margarine if you want to, but I sure like that butter in there because it kind of makes it richer. Okay. Then you mix this with your cherry juice. Of course, I use the Bing cherries, and I reserve the juice from the can and use it. Oh, look how pretty that is. Yes, very good. Now that old standby faithful, a whisk, always comes in handy for this, because you want to make sure that your flour and your sugar's all blended into your cherry juice. No, I don't know what I ever did without a whisk, because I use it for everything. Custards and roux, and always makes everything just so smooth. And of course you have some of your butter that's still floating around here. Then I'm going to add my cherries to this. Okay. Oh, great, beautiful Bing cherries. Yes. You can use the dark cherries if you want to, but this is what I like to use, the Bing cherries. Of course, you're going to have to cook this until, I'm being a messy cook again. Yep, like I said, we're going to have a good meal today, because I sure have been messy. All good cooks are messy cooks. So, okay, you're going to mix this up real good. This is a very quick and easy pie recipe, and I love to bake pies. I'm not too good at making cakes, but pies are my specialty. So I always bake them at home for the family, and of course, even for myself, because I love pies. Okay, we're gonna let that get thick. This has got to congeal, because when you're gonna bake it, it's gonna thicken even more. And then when you take it out of the oven and you let it cool, you refrigerate it, it's going to congeal even more. So that way your pie slices will be real pretty, and you won't have juice running all over. I want to make sure this is really, really good. Okay, still not quite thick enough. This takes about a couple of minutes, but that's okay. You got plenty of time. That's not very long, you know. Okay, very good. That's pretty thick. All right, when it starts to forming on the side and it just starts bubbling, so you see how it's bubbling on the sides, that means that it's gone to cooking just right. And you want to cook those cherries, but you don't want to overcook them, because they're going to all come apart, and you want your cherries to be whole so your slices look real pretty. All right. Oh, well, I forgot to get my pie shells. Lucy, would you please bring Mama's famous pie shells from the freezer?
Okay, Mama.
Good. That sounds good. She'll be right here with them. And this is looking real good.
Mama, I know you're cheating because these pie shells are from the grocery store.
Oh, well, Lucy, you know Mama's getting old.
No, that's not true.
Well, I need all the help I can get with time element, so, you know, that's why I get those, but they're good. So would you mind helping me in putting the bottom crust in the pie pan over there, please?
Okay.
Look at this, how pretty this is. I'm ready for it. Very good. That's okay. You're doing good.
Thank you.
Very good. And I'm going to pour this in the bottom crust, okay?
That looks good.
Now you know why Uncle Todd says this is his favorite pie. And of course, I always bake it when he comes.
Well, this pie must be really special because he doesn't come home very often.
That's right. That's right. So, okay. Don't you eat my cherries? Look. Well, my gosh.
Okay.
Well, you know, we're going to have to decorate with those, so we need at least 3 of them. But you know what? You can have a piece of the pie, okay?
Okay.
Now, and you want to help me put this over the bottom? Because, you know, this is kind of complicated here. Oops. Yep. I'm going to put it here. Okay. And that's okay if it breaks. That's fine. That's no problem. We can open them up just like this, you see? It's all right. And then you take half of it and you put it on here. Good old cherry juice. Okay. And then you put this one. And of course, the next step, let me wipe my hands here, is that we're going to seal it. We're going to crinkle it.
Well, how do you do that, Mama?
Watch, I'll show you. See, you just push it down like this, okay?
Well, I learned so much from you.
Well, I'm glad you did. Just, you know, because you can bake me some of these pies someday, you know? Okay, we're going to do this. Well, you finish that up, and I'm going to mix my little sugar and water here.
Oh, I remember you telling me what that does. It makes the pie browning.
Yes, that's right. You put it on top, and it just makes it so pretty and browns real nice. So, would you like to do it for me?
Okay.
Very good. Yeah, you just brush it on there so it's just it bakes to a golden brown and very crispy type crust. Okay, that's good. One more water. Now I'm going to slit this.
Well, why do you do that, Mama?
Well, this is so the steam escapes from the pie and it doesn't make too big a mess, and it also makes it prettier, okay?
That makes sense.
Well, yes. Now we're going to bake this at 375 degrees for about 30 minutes in the oven. 'Cause nothing says lovin' like a cherry pie in the oven. What a great meal. Of course, our quail looks as good as it tastes. And to go with that is my wonderful carrot souffle, which I have really learned to fix and enjoy, which I would serve with that a romaine salad with the French salad dressing. To top all this off, we have our gorgeous and delicious cherry pie. Of course, our quail is just one of the many recipes that you can fix with the variety of game that we have in our sportsman's paradise, Louisiana. My visit with Mr. Smith gave me a bird's eye view of what a quail farm really is. And after such a nice visit, I would like to share a letter with you. Dear Miss Lucy, my husband and I love watching your cooking shows. They are great. You always seem to cook the best meals and always make it look so easy that anyone can try them. You go step by step and tell the best stories. Keep up the great cooking. We look forward to watching you cook up a storm in the future. Your friends in Lockport, Louisiana, Steve and Chantel Vedros. Thank you, Steve and Chantel, for sharing this letter with me, and thank you for watching me today. See you again soon, Shaq. Oh, V, you didn't do that. Well, we're going to look at the transform of that Noah Legger. Look.
We caught quite a few.
We gotta do it again. I'm gonna fall.
The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world, and Louisiana's main ingredient? Seafood. We put the same thing into our music that we put into our gumbo. Everything. A Louisiana tour guide is available at www.louisianatravel.com. Louisiana crawfish, an appetizing natural resource.